Hello, we are live. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yay. Hi, Robin.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming onto my live stream.
Yay.
So, Robin, Coach Robin, is from Hidden Gems Coaching, and Robin helps us with career empowerment. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm Robin Cartwright. I have Hidden Gems Coaching, and I am a career empowerment coach. And I empower individuals to up-level their careers and their lives. So I work with individuals who are wanting to move up to the next level in their career, and I help them through that path. I have over 30 years of human resources and decided to change that and help others in their career endeavors.
What motivated you to pivot to coaching?
I had an incredible career and I learned a lot of ups and downs. And through that, I decided that I wanted to give back and help others in their careers and enjoy their successes and their dreams.
What are some of the biggest struggles that your clients have faced?
It's a lot of figuring out who they are, what they really want, and being happy in their careers. So
Mhm.
a lot of people go every day, clock in, clock out, and are not doing the job that makes them happy, aren't in the roles that make them happy. They think they want one thing, but when we dive into it, a lot of times it's this, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do that. I really want to do this. And it's helping them to be better managers, helping them to be better leaders. It's helping them to grow in the skills and their strengths that they're good at.
Why do you think it's hard for us to know who we really are and what we really want?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. We grow up in a household or we have a societal feedback that we're getting. We also live in different cultures, and a lot of times cultures demand certain things and they say, okay, you've got to do this. Our parents tell us we have to do certain things. And so we have all these expectations. And then by the time we get out there in the work world, so for example, one of the clients I worked with went through years and years and years of education to be this controller and CFO. And when she got there, she hated it. So it's a matter of we follow all the signals that we're told, but then
Mm.
we really realize it's not really what we want to do. And we don't know how to do it. Or we have shadow work. We have difficult things that we have to work on and dive into and figure out. And yeah, we just get stuck.
What does shadow work mean for folks who might not be familiar with that term?
Sure. Shadow work is all those difficulties that we go through in life. So, for example, maybe you want to be a manager, but you're not really listening to what you've been told or what your strengths are. So, in your managing, you're my way or the highway manager. You're
Mhm.
not managing people as individuals. And so we have to dive into those difficult situations. I call them shadows because they're dark and
Mhm.
gritty, and we have to dive into some of those beliefs. And sometimes it's a matter of we feel like an imposter or we don't feel like we can be at the level that we want to be at. So it's a matter of diving in, figuring out what that fear is, why we have it, and then moving forward. Cultural issues, things that we were brought up with believing, all of those are all shadow work.
What creates or what leads to imposter syndrome that is so common?
Oh, goodness. Again, imposter syndrome is huge, and a lot of it is fear, and it's things we put in our head that aren't reality. We think we can't do things, even though we have years and years and years of experience, or even though we excel in a certain
Yeah.
area. For example, you had years of experience, Nancy, but going out there and being a coach, it's like, oh, can I really do this?
Right.
Yes, because you probably were already doing it and not doing it as a career. So it's
Mhm.
huge. Imposter syndrome's huge. I want to be a VP. I'm too afraid. I don't think I have the qualifications. I don't think I have the background. But in
Mhm.
reality, you really do. It's just
Mhm.
tell yourself that you don't. Or it might be as simple as going out and getting a certification in something. And then just that's kind of the bow on the package.
Why are we so good at doubting ourselves?
No, because our mind is an amazing thing. We tell ourselves all these things and we actually believe it. And that's puts doubt in it. So you're driving to the store and you're sitting there going, oh, it's an ugly day. I'm probably going to end up with a flat tire. Well, guess what? You end up with a flat tire. So we create more things with our mind and we put more doubt in our mind than we really need to.
Is is that because we think that we need to be careful all the time?
Oh, there you go with your thinking. I know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. So you do. We think that. We put
Mhm.
that in our mind, we think it, and then it happens. So I
Yeah.
always say that worry is getting something you don't want.
Mhm.
If you're putting worry and concern in your brain, it's because it's something you don't want. Our
Right.
subconscious mind just sits there and worries, even though we're trying to tell ourselves not to, but we do.
How do we get better at not doing that?
You have to learn to turn it off. We have to learn to focus on positive, be around positive people.
Mhm.
Find funny things to laugh at. The second that negative thought or that doubtful goes into your brain,
Yeah.
find somebody, help get it out, or watch a funny video, or do something. I like to dance. Dancing and putting on some fun music just to jazz you up and get you going. It just makes you feel better. And
Mhm.
then you can get that thought out of your mind. Just shoo it away.
A lot of people use the phrase, "I can't shake this feeling," or "I can't shake this off." What
Yeah.
do what do we do?
Well, shake it.
Just do it.
Work on shaking it. Again, find somebody who's positive. That's why coaches are so good, Nancy, is
Mhm.
because coaches help us to stay on track. So
Right.
many times I work with my clients, we give them tasks and then I check with them in a week and see how they're doing. And we meet every 2 weeks and they'll say, oh,
Yeah.
Robin, this is what's going on. And I'm just feeling doubtful. And then I send them a cute little emoji, or maybe
Mhm.
sometimes I send them a text or I get on the phone for a 10-minute conversation,
Mhm.
picking them up, making them so that they stay on that right train. If
Right.
they get off that train track and they start thinking and they start doubting and they start worrying, the train derails and
Right.
we've got to go back to the start.
Right. Right. Part of it is also the momentum, right? When
Totally.
we're basically what we need to do is to form a new behavior, but it takes
Absolutely.
time
It does.
and there's momentum.
That's right.
And it's very possible that we give this a try for a day or two and then we lose the momentum and then we have to start all over again.
Yeah, and we're so conditioned, from the when we were
Mm.
children, when we came up and working with our parents or our lives, we're so conditioned that we have to do certain things. And why do we have to follow every single nodule to the nth degree? Unless you're doing a process that is telling you in order to make this widget, it's from A to Z. Unless it's that, why do we have to be so conditioned? Because that's what society's done. That's what the old energy is. And that's why we're moving.
Yeah, tell us more about that. What does that
Ah,
mean to be moving to a new energy?
yeah.
What is the old energy and what are we moving toward?
So the old energy is this 3D dimension that we've had over the last 2000 plus years. And that energy is one where we're separate consciousness. We're separate people. It's all about me, 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 me. I want to
Mhm.
climb. I want to be successful. Everything is material world. I need this to look good. And it's all about me. It's all about separate consciousness. We're moving into more of a 5D energy, and that is more of what they call feminine, not in feminine like the human female. It's in feminine as in the heartfelt consciousness, the collaborative consciousness. And this is a consciousness where we are more of a team. So
Mhm.
we work together. And that's the energies that we're moving into for the next 2000 plus years, is to become more of a team, to think together, to solve the problems of the world, to solve the problems of humanity. We are going to form more of a unity to do this, be more flexible, expansive. And it's really kind of an exciting time. But those individuals that are still stuck in that 3D energy, they're having a really hard time. And when you put a little kid in a corner, They
Mm.
just want to bang their feet and get out and explode. So you're seeing a lot of this 3D energy explosions, that, and 3D energy was all about the me. So it created a lot of wars.
Mm.
It was just not good for the environment of the world. It was not good for the individuals. And that energy is trying to survive. And so you're getting a lot of explosions. As we move more into the 5D, which is more team, more heartfelt, more collaborative, more expansive, you're going to start seeing it. I'll start to see a little bit in my lifetime, but our children will see more,
Mhm.
where it's going to be more unity, more collaboration to solve the problems of the world.
How do we see leadership differ in this more collaborative 5D world?
It's not so much about me.
Mm.
It's about us. A
Mhm.
leader in the 5D world is somebody who is about teamwork, about being heartfelt, about being collaborative, about being flexible, understanding, about making the company a team. And one of the individuals I worked for, early on, and he was way before his time, he was always saying, it's not about an I, it's about a E, it's about a team. And it's really moving into leadership, and this new energy is more about the team of working together to get the goals of the company or the goals of the world or the goals of the individual achieved. So it's not so much about me.
If we talk to all the companies out there, they probably would always say, we care about teamwork, we care about our people.
They say that because it sounds really good. But in reality, the
Mhm.
percentage of the actual companies that do care heartfelt about
Mm.
their team
Mm.
is much lower. Because at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line.
Mhm.
New energy is not so much about the bottom line. I mean, yes, we've got to make money, we've got to be able
Mm.
to pay for our employees, but it's more about growing our team and expanding and having that consciousness of being a unity and doing it together. It's not so
Mhm.
much about that CEO making those millions of dollars or the board members making the
Mm.
millions of dollars, as it is, I want this company to be unified and successful to help the greater good.
How would that change the way companies operate today if they were more 5D?
It's going, well, a lot. It's going to help raise employees and make them feel important and help up level their careers and train them and
Mhm.
challenge them to be better.
Mm.
Much more collaboration than you have
Mm.
today. It's more about, you see it every now and then. You hear about the CEOs who don't take their bonuses to give back to the employees.
Yeah.
Those are the heartfelt 5D energy
Mm.
CEOs that are really looking out for the entire company. I mean, you see and you hear about the executives that put everything, they take cuts in pay just
Yeah.
to be able to get the company the next hurdle. So it's becoming more of a team
Mhm.
than a me.
How do you see the tech industry right now where all the tech companies, not all, but tech companies are doing layoffs and multiple rounds of layoffs? How do we explain that? Like if the way they operate is more 5D, how would they approach a down market differently?
It's looking ahead, and it's looking at the numbers, not just a year or two down the line. It's looking
Mhm.
at the numbers 5 years. It's being more conservative with their spending. I mean,
Mhm.
people just get real confident and think, oh, we can do this and that. And they get overconfident and then they
Mm.
spend too much. It's
Mhm.
looking at, we couldn't plan COVID. I mean,
Right.
there were very few people that, really thought it was going to hit the United States, and it did.
Mhm.
Nobody thought we'd shut down for as long as we did. So you
Right.
can't plan. So it's a CEO that plans for the unexpected.
Mm.
It's a CEO that thinks and cares about their employees. It's the
Mhm.
executive team
Right.
that is much more collaborative, saying, okay, here's the plan, but if we have this hiccup, what do we do? It's the
Mhm.
person that, for example, that puts the savings account together. for that rainy day. So the CEO is putting
Mhm.
the company together
Mm,
for that rainy day.
mm,
When that rainy day comes, they're ready to move with it because they already have the plan in place.
mm,
And it's not forming the plan just himself or herself, it's planning that plan with their team.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's
Right.
working together.
Working together. Right. We think we work together, but we don't really.
No,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we've been conditioned so long
Right.
about me. I'm
Right.
the one who has to succeed. I'm the one who has to do good. You know, you're conditioned in school. You have to get good grades. It's not about the entire class doing good and
Right.
learning. It's about you.
We think that there's not enough abundance or there's not enough success to go around. But that's
And
a myth, isn't it?
yes,
Because
it is.
everyone can succeed. Everyone can
Yeah,
be abundant.
there's plenty out there. And
Right.
it's changing your mindset and working on that to understand this.
Right.
And it's working together.
Right.
So the homeless problem, for example, is a huge passion of mine.
Mm,
And that is a problem that can be solved if we work together. I
mm.
sit there and I listen to the issues in the world, and I think if we just got together, we could solve a lot of this.
Right, because we we don't see everyone as us. We see us versus them.
Right.
But how would the world look and feel differently if it's just us? We're
Yeah,
in this together.
a lot different. There's
Mhm.
no
Right.
hierarchical, the rich help the poor. We're united as one,
Right.
which we're Nancy. It's going to take a long time to get there, but it's baby steps. It's
Right.
little by little by little that we will get there. It's corporations that start thinking this way
Yeah.
as one unit, as one collaborative, cohesive company,
Right.
and doing things like that. And it's understanding the mindset of abundance. Abundance isn't the green money that you have to pay the bills. I mean, yes, we need to pay the bills,
Mhm.
but it's the love, it's the friendship, it's being thankful that we have a house that we can, or a roof over our
Right.
head. It's those little things. That's abundance. So
Right.
it's really understanding that you have abundance
Right.
and then forming that group and that team.
Yes. It's also a mindset shift
Yep.
where I could be abundant, you can also be abundant, everyone
Yes.
can have abundance.
Yes.
Because it's not limited.
Right.
Right now, we think, oh, if we let that person succeed, then I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
Right? But
It's like fight or flight right now.
right.
And
Makes
that's the 3D.
makes so much sense. How long is this going to take?
Thousands of years.
Oh my gosh. How were we always in 3D?
No, before in the last, 3,000 years ago or so, we were more in a 2D type
What
of.
was that like 2D? What was 2D like?
I'm not an expert on the 2D, but it was
Mm,
more of a survival mode. You
mm,
had to survive. You
mm,
you had to, go out and forage for your food. You had to do your crops.
mhm.
It was all about survival.
Okay.
And then when we started realizing that we could conquer,
Mm,
then we started moving into this 3D, because now it's
mm.
about me, and I want to be, this person in charge, and I want to be the king, and I want to be,
Right, right.
yeah. So then it became me. So we went from the survival, just foraging and trying to find how to survive the
Mhm,
winters, into this 3D, which is much more of the me.
mhm.
And now we're moving into what they call the 5D, which is more the collaborative,
Mm.
unified environment.
So this is profound. What would be an example of a baby step we could take toward 5D, which is going to take thousands of years?
I would say, if I was coaching an individual right now, that I would look to work for companies that have more of that unified feel to it.
Mhm.
I would work on my mindset as an individual so that I understand abundance, so that
Right.
I can have a better mindset of a unified. And I would try really hard to understand that we're all human beings here.
Mhm.
and we're about working together.
Makes sense. Let's pivot a little bit because we received a question during the sign up. This person wants to know, how do we get champions at work to be on our side? A
Yeah,
champion is someone who can open doors for us, who probably believe in us more than we believe in ourselves.
right. And that's called mentoring. And mentoring is really important in the workplace. And I would suggest that you talk to individuals in your organization or maybe in another organization
Mhm.
that can kind of lift you up, positive, make you feel good, understand your strengths and weaknesses, and work with you. Maybe you meet them on a lunch basis or for coffee every 2 weeks. Or I have one that I meet every Sunday. We do a virtual call, and that's my mentor, and we work together.
Mhm.
So you just need to find that, I call it your person, and
Mhm.
that person will help you. And sometimes it's a coach, because
Mhm.
sometimes it's not really getting that individual at your company because you don't want to share everything to people in your company. So maybe you have to find somebody outside your company, or maybe it's in an organization that you're involved with, or
Right.
a coach.
What's the difference between mentoring and coaching?
Coaches are somebody that are going to keep you accountable, are going to
Mm,
push you towards the actions to
mm,
get to the end result.
mm,
Mentors are somebody who are probably most likely in the job you want to be in
mhm,
or pursue, and they are teaching you what they know. So
mhm.
they're growing you and growing your skill strengths. And the
Right.
coach is the one who is making you move forward and be
Mhm.
accountable and have those actions.
Right. Right. Makes total sense. A coach can't necessarily do your job.
No.
Yeah.
But a mentor might have done your
Right.
job one time.
Right.
So
Makes so
it's,
much sense.
yeah, so if I was a product manager and I wanted a mentor, I would most likely find a director or a VP,
Mhm.
because if I want to move up in that organization, that's the mentor that I want. And it might not be somebody in your own company. Maybe
Right.
it's through an organization that you go to.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about why we think it's very important to empower women in the corporate world.
Oh my gosh, because ladies, we need to step up. I mean, there are more men on board of directors and in leadership in organizations in the United States. I looked at the 2022 CNBC poll, and it said that there's only 29% women from 2022. 29% of women are on boards. Really? I mean, we need to get more women in there. And it's important to have women in leadership positions. For an example, a
Mm.
little girl looks up to the woman at the seat of a big company and, wow, I want to be there one day. Or a woman in politics. I mean, we are making strides in
Yes.
politics as women.
Yes.
But you look up going, oh, I want to be just like her one day. So there's that. Then there's also what we bring to the table, which is women are strong. There's a lot of strength that we bring. Just because we shed a tear does not mean that we are not strong individuals.
Hmm.
Women bring a different viewpoint. We are very good at handling multiple things and being able to put those things in directions that they need to go. So if you think of a woman, here I am with 20 different things coming at me. And men, that's why we talk so much. We've got so many things up here in our head. And it's like having a little pinpoint, and then there's all these little arrows coming out of it. If you think of it on a PowerPoint presentation, you've got your
Hmm.
circle and all these arrows
Hmm.
coming out, and we're really good at directing. We need this, we need that, we need this. If you've ever seen, like, I was very involved in my son's baseball, and you've ever seen a woman or a mother take over a luncheon or barbecue or award ceremony for that, I'm telling you, this is what you need, this, you need that. I mean, they just put it
Right.
in order and it comes off great.
Yeah.
So we're really good at that. We're also, the majority of us are extremely heartfelt.
Hmm.
So we understand that life is not just about work.
Yeah.
Life is about a lot of different components. There's a lot of different features to life. We have our, kids, we have our parents, we have our activities, we have our friends. So we're heartfelt. We understand that it's not this huge, incredible grind. And women are very good at being um, workers that understand that you don't have to work long hours to get the job done. We're good at our calendars for the most part, and we're good at making sure that we get our work done that we need to have done. So there's a lot of sensitivity and flexibility and heartfelt in there. So women, let's go, step up.
What happens when, because everything has to be balanced, right? So there should be a healthy balance between the masculine and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when we don't have enough masculine and just only feminine energy? What would that look like?
A little tilted. So we do need that
Yeah.
masculine energy because we do need to fight. We do need
Yeah.
to have that toughness. We need to move forward in that strong, oof that
Mm-hmm.
the male energy brings.
Yeah.
And so it's really good to have that. That's why boards would be great to have an even amount of
Yes.
female and male
Yes.
energy on there,
Yes.
because the male energy is incredible. I mean, they can take a task and go down that tunnel, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Whereas a female, oh, this, that,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a little chaotic at
Yeah.
times. But a man just sits there,
Yeah.
and that's the goal. You
Yeah.
think about a man, thousands of years ago going after in war,
Mm-hmm.
that fight. I mean,
Yeah.
they have that drive.
Yeah.
And so it's really good. We feed off of that. And sometimes women get too far into the female energy, the too far into the heartfelt. And it's really good to pull back because you
Yeah.
can't always be there.
Yeah. And that's why it's a balance at the end of the day.
Huge.
We're not saying that the feminine energy should take over. We just want a more healthy balance,
Right.
because that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a masculine and feminine energy that are balanced.
And if we had more balance in this world and in these companies,
yeah,
so successful.
Yeah, makes so much sense. The follow-up question, which is related, is why it's important to help women excel in their roles, breaking down barriers of fear and boosting their confidence. Let's break this down because it's kind of like a loaded question. We kind of talked about the first one already, needing a more balanced masculine and feminine energy.
Yep.
What does breaking down barriers of fear mean?
Because for so long, women are conditioned that they can't succeed. I mean, for a long time, it was women were supposed to be at home taking care of the children. They were the ones to take care of the home. They were not the ones to go out and work and bring home the income. And it's conditioning women that it's okay to go and do that. It's also breaking down the barriers that we can be successful. It is okay for a woman to be at the top of her field. It is okay for a woman to be successful. There's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the other issue is women don't, for some reason, and a lot of it is based on how they grew up and their conditioning, but their boundaries, they don't have them. A lot of them want to do everything for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that that's what they did. They feel that that's what they were brought up doing. And that's what they were told they had to do is yes, 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 yes. Well, it's okay to say no.
Right.
And it's dealing with those fears, dealing with learning how to deal with your boundaries, learning how to, be on top of who you are, and looking at your plate and understanding, you only have so much time in a day and that's all you can do. And that's okay.
What does that look like? The barrier of fear. Does that mean that we would be better at giving ourselves permission to take on this new challenge?
Yeah. Well, fear is an amazing thing. And again, it's what we put in our head most of the time. So it's taking one little step towards it, not 3 steps backwards, one step towards it. So if you say you want to be a doctor, you're in high school right now, and that's what you want to do. then go talk to a doctor. Find out, what does a doctor do? How much education do they need? Educate yourself on what it is that you need, and then start taking one step at a time towards that. So a lot of times I coach women that want to move up to the next level in their jobs. And I tell them, go talk to somebody who's in that job. Understand, how many hours do they put in? What exactly do they do in that role? And then take one step to get there. Maybe they need a certification. Go get your certification. If they need to let their managers know, 90% of the time, managers don't know that you actually want to move up to that next step in your career.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about it, telling people. And then as you take one step and you do that, then you start feeling more confident.
Yeah.
And that starts building your confidence. Stepping into things that aren't comfortable builds confidence.
So that sounds like sometimes we might see confidence as like a black and white, like I have it or I don't have it. But it sounds like it's a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And with every step we take, that's a little bit outside of our comfort zone.
Yep.
We are learning that it's okay. It's still
Right.
safe.
Yeah.
And that's how we build up our confidence. And once we have taken that one step, and then we feel, oh yeah, nothing bad is gonna happen, or nothing bad happened. Okay, now I could take my second step, and I could take my third step, and every step that we take, our confidence is getting stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
So it sounds like taking that first step is crucial.
Yes, and that's it. You do have to take that one first little step to feel more confident.
How do we help people take that first step?
We, as individuals, we encourage people to do it. Lay out a plan. As a coach, I lay out a plan and I say, okay, here's your homework, one little step. For example, I worked with a woman who was having problems with boundaries. So what we did is we figured out, okay, where are at home, where it's safe, where's your lack of boundaries? So she actually asked her husband to cook a meal for her.
Good for her.
Work. Can you cook a meal for me? A boundary. Little things. I'm going to be late tonight. I got to run around with the kids. Can you cook dinner, or can you do the dishes for me? Little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. One little step.
Why is it hard for us to ask for these little things?
Because I think, again, when you go back to that conditioning, where we're conditioned that we have to do it ourselves and we have to take care of it all ourselves, and we have to control it.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
That's a lot to take on.
That is a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah.
All of this is to say that Robin and I see you.
Yes.
Like, we see you. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Follow-up question to that is, how might we foster a more inclusive and empathetic work environment? What does inclusive work environment mean?
So I feel that an inclusive work environment and an empathetic work environment is one where we're working together, we're unified. And if we have more of that 5D energy, it's going to start fostering that, where we can be inclusive, we can be empathetic, we can be understanding, we can work together, we can be a good team. These are all really good. And how we foster that is by all of those things I just talked about in the energies. It's by working together. It's by being flexible. It's by being heartfelt. But at the same time, having that male balance of, you still need to get the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah. What is that first step that all of us can take to foster or to start fostering a more inclusive environment?
Start being more positive. Don't go out there for the win for yourself. Go out there for the win for all of us. You know, be more positive about it. Wake up in the morning and feel the energy of the world. I mean, you're lucky you're here. And be 6 feet under. You're here. You're here to be a human. You're here to experience life. Go live it. Have a good time.
Right.
And if you had a bad day because, I don't know, you got in a fight with your husband or boyfriend or kid or whatever it is, or got that flat tire on the way to work, sit, calm yourself, re-energize and reboot yourself like you do your computer. Get back on track.
What if that challenge is happening at work, which really challenges us to be positive?
I know. And sometimes there's that political mucky muck, and we're just like, how do we go through that? Who do I trust? How do I navigate the waters? It can be really hard.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is sometimes go take a walk with somebody. If you can find somebody that you can talk to about it, maybe there's a mentor or friend or coach, somebody that you can call. Sometimes I get texts from my clients saying, I'm having a really bad day at work. Robin, do you have time at this time just for a 5-minute check-in? And I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of just finding somebody and removing yourself from it, and then finding somebody to talk to. One gal I knew actually locked herself in the closet one time because she was having such a stressful day with all the deadlines, and she needed to regroup. So she went in the closet, put on some soft music, and meditated for 20 minutes. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you do whatever it takes. One time I had the worst conversation with my CEO that just completely shocked me. And I had to go into my car, drive away, and just park somewhere else.
Yes.
And I just cried, like in my car, away from that parking lot.
And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you just need to remove yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another time when I went to the bathroom and I cried.
Yep. Done that. Yeah. Because when you cry, you're releasing all that energy that's built up, and that is so helpful, and that will help you be more positive. And then go watch some funny video so you can get back. Okay, I've got this.
Right. But its first step is you need to recognize that you're maxed out. Like when you're so filled with rage and sadness and like shock, just like all the feelings, you have to create that space to let it out, however you do it.
Yeah. And when you take care of yourself, whether that, sometimes people think self-care is like going to get a massage. It doesn't mean that.
Right.
Sometimes it just means sitting quietly with yourself and taking a moment.
Yeah.
And when you start doing that, then you start feeling better, and you start feeling more positive, and then you can be more inclusive and empathetic and help grow that work environment.
At what point do we decide? So there's always a decision. Something bad happens at work. I could navigate it. I try to survive it. I work my butt off. I can do all those things. Or I leave and I exit. How do we balance this desire to, I just want to do a good job, and I try to make other people happy, versus maybe I should just exit?
Sometimes exiting isn't exactly the answer, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and people just run away from their problems. Sometimes it's sitting down and figuring out the why. What is really going on? Why are you really unhappy? What is really going on? And is there something going on in that shadow, in that difficult part of your life that you're not listening to?
Right.
Are you not understanding that you are making mistakes? Are you not understanding that you're letting your team down? Are you not understanding that to be a manager, you cannot be this person that is all about my way or the highway? So really, you have to listen. And then, did you talk to your manager about your goals and your dreams and where you want to go? So if you have done all of that on the checklist, then let's go and empower and move on to the next opportunity, because maybe you aren't in a place where you can grow and shine.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because part of it is also our responsibility to put in the work to get the thing that we want.
Yeah.
But then there's also a point where we put in the work, but it's not aligned.
Right.
Then find something else that is more aligned.
I mean, so many times people say, oh, I want a career that is aligned to my life's purpose.
Right.
And I'll say, well, are you happy? Are you doing what you really love to do? Are you feeling good when you go to the office? No. Well, then you're not aligned.
Right.
Whereas I commuted a really long distance to get to work, but I loved the people I worked with. I loved my job.
Yeah.
Every time I was there, I was glowing with happiness. That was my life's purpose.
Yes.
In my career.
That's alignment.
A total alignment. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Oh, fun.
How might we increase the representation of women in executive roles, promoting diversity and inclusivity?
I think every company needs to look at their executives. They need to look at their board. They need to look at their management team. And they need to see where can we, I'm not telling them to lay people off or let go of men. Where can you add? Where can you bring people in? Where can you help grow an individual? And see if there's women in your workplace that can move up into these roles. Be more diversified by looking at your workplace and seeing where you can move up individuals into these roles. And if you need to get them some training, you need to get them some management, some leadership, communication, get them the training.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Be a team.
Yes.
Help promote individuals. I'm still doing HR consulting, and I work with companies, and many times we put plans in place that part of their performance is about up leveling their careers, learning, being challenged. For every 40 hours that they work, did they take 3 hours to learn something new?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
There is a chicken and egg problem. It's well, if women are not given a chance to grow the skills that we need to be a good executive, then why should they hire us to be the executive when we don't have the skill set? Right? Of course you want to make sure all your executives are skilled.
Yeah.
But then part of the problem is if women are not given a chance to even learn, then they're not set up for success.
That's right. And when we hire the women,
right,
we need to give them success. I had a hiring manager one time that hired somebody that didn't have all the qualifications for the job. And I remember asking him, why are you bringing her on? She doesn't have this, or this. And he said, because she can learn it. She's got the skill set to learn it. Right. She's got the patience, she's got the ability, and she's a quick learner. And he was right, because she just excelled in her job. But when we hired her, I had to rewrite the job description later on because she didn't even have the skills he originally wanted. But that's it. Hire the person that is able to learn, that is forging that positive energy, that can move into that. You don't have to hire the exact person at the time, but hire the person that you can groom and teach and have them grow into that capacity of being a senior leader.
From a hiring executives, like let's say the CEO, from the CEO's perspective, why would they choose to hire someone who has the potential, which is kind of like a gamble, versus hiring someone who has done the job, proven track record, et cetera, et cetera?
A lot of it, when you're interviewing, it's not all about the qualifications of the job as it is about the right fit of the person. So just because the person has the exact qualifications of the job does not mean they fit into what you're doing as a company. Doesn't mean they have passion for your organization. It doesn't mean that have the ability to be the leader that you are looking for in your organization.
Right.
So just because on paper you have that skill set. And it's the same for the person interviewing for the job. Why do I want to go into a company that I do not feel good at? I mean, I've actually interviewed at companies and I've left going, no way am I working there. So it's the same thing on
Hmm.
both sides.
I'm curious, in that job interview that made you, you know, feel that way, what are some of the signals that you picked up?
Just, when I sat down with the hiring manager, I didn't connect with him
Hmm.
at all.
Hmm.
Just vibe or whatever, the energy wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I felt that I had to peel onions to
Hmm.
get him to answer to my questions about what he was looking for, where we were going, where he didn't even have the understanding of the company and their goals. And to me, I always needed to work with somebody who's going to mentor me, who's going to pick me up and put
Yeah.
me in a positive mindset. And he just did not have that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to work for that. No. Mm-mm.
That reminded me of an experience I had. It was the weirdest thing. I had an interview in person with the hiring manager, and we were put in this huge room, a huge conference room with a large table.
Mhm.
We started the interview kind of like toward the same side of the table. And then for some reason, toward the end of the interview, this hiring manager just, and we're on chairs with wheels.
Mhm.
He just kept going further and further and further and further away from me. And toward
Oh,
the end of the interview, he was on the other side of the table. Like,
well, there tells you something right there.
and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. I mean, and when you're in interviews, it's so important to look at all those little signals,
Yeah.
because why do you want to be in an environment where your boss wants to be on the other side of the room?
Right. And then, then we go into this inner dialogue. Did I say something? Am I not good enough? Do I
What did
smell
I
bad?
do?
Like, what's the
Right.
problem?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So bizarre.
yeah, exactly.
All right, we have another question that came in through the sign up form. And the question is, how do we keep up the motivation and energy while working from home? I see myself procrastinating.
Oh, yes, working from home and procrastinating. It's so easy to do. So I think the biggest thing is time management. You really have to look at your schedule, know what time, and it's okay to take a break and go walk around and go outside and take a walk. We do that in the office. When you're in the office, you walk down the hall, you run into somebody, you have a coffee break, you go outside, you walk around the building, have a cigarette break, whatever it be. We're always taking breaks. So you could do the same thing at work, just time management it when you're at home. So schedule out your breaks. Okay, I need a 15-minute regroup my brain break. I don't always have to be sitting at the computer all day long, because your brain does need a break. So go get a glass of water,
Mm-hmm.
go for a walk. It's okay. And then keep your schedule. So if you have scheduled in, this is my office time to do work, list out what that work is, because if we have a list, human beings, we love to cross them off.
Me too.
Right? You have your little lists,
Yeah.
and then you like to just kind of cross off your
Yes.
little to-dos. And that's exactly what our brain likes to do.
Yeah.
So write out in your office time, what are you going to achieve during that time? 1 through 10. If you can't get them all done, great. You do it the next day on the next
Mhm.
office time. But really plan out your day, because otherwise you'll just be sitting there the second you hear a noise in the other room and, procrastination. Gotta go do it.
There's probably also a deeper level to this, which is, why do I want to procrastinate? What
Mhm.
is causing me to procrastinate?
Sometimes we want to procrastinate because we really don't want to do the job.
Right. Right.
And then when you dive into that
Yeah.
and you're not happy in
Yeah.
that job, then we need to work on that one. And that's where working with a coach
Yeah.
really comes into play.
Imagine, let's visualize this. What if work doesn't feel like work anymore? What if
Hmm.
there's no reason to procrastinate because I just want to show up? I just want to get this done. I just want to work on this because it makes me feel good.
then that's
Or,
a good thing.
right, imagine that. So many of us, we work really hard and then we look forward to that vacation that we've been planning all year long, and we go on that vacation. We can't stop thinking about work, but we're still on vacation. Then we come
Mhm.
back, then we dread going back to work because now there's 1,000 emails waiting for us.
Yep.
Right? That's the most common scenario. But what if the scenario is a little bit different, where you go on vacation and yeah, maybe we can't stop thinking about work, but these are like good thoughts, like exciting thoughts, something that you look forward to doing when you come back from vacation. It's like, oh, I can't wait to go send out this one email. Like, how would that feel like? What
Yeah.
if that was possible?
So when you're in a job that you really love and you're shining in it, those thousands of emails aren't a problem.
Yeah.
You, I would come back and I would schedule out half my day to get through the emails,
Yeah.
and I'd really kind of skim through them and do the ones that were a priority. When you're in a job where
Mm-hmm.
you hate
Yeah.
the job and you're miserable,
Yeah.
and it's just like, oh God, now I got to go back for those thousands of emails, then you're dreading it. You got the pit in your stomach. You don't feel good. Then you really need to look at, why do you
Yeah.
not feel good in that job? Are you
Yeah.
not liking the job? Do you not like the company? What is really going on? And when you dive into that why, then you can figure out how to move forward. So then
Yes.
you look at how you can get out, what you need to do. Or maybe you're in a department that's not the right department for you. That happens often.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have one more question that is not on the script. I'm going off script a
Oh
little bit
boy.
because I keep thinking about how this 5D world would look and how companies would operate. Today, all these companies do some kind of performance reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And performance review is a thing that gives a lot of people anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the 3D way of operating. Now, when we're in 5D, how do we design a system that is not so, I don't know what the word is. It just creates so much
Yeah,
stress and anxiety.
it does. And performance reviews, it's been a topic of discussion for a good 20 to 30 years, at least as long as I've been in HR. And I am a proponent of performance reviews where, yeah, you talk about how you're doing in the job, but you also work on growing the employee and having them be more of a unity and a connection with everybody on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the me, I, as much as a cohesive environment. We're a team, we're an entire department. And what are you doing to better yourself? What are you doing to help grow the team? How are you contributing to the team? So I like to focus more on the team, then focus more on the I, and not make the performance reviews so much like we've been ingrained with ABCD in our
Yeah.
schools. We
Yeah.
work to get a grade,
Yeah.
and then we have to get that grade in order to graduate.
Right.
Well, why do we have to grade everybody? If you're learning and you're contributing and you're growing, why can't you just get a hurrah for that?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that we've separated the world into this, A grade,
Mm-hmm.
B grade, C grade, D grade, and we've done the same thing in our workplace.
Yes.
Excel,
Yep.
somewhat excelled,
Yep.
meets, under meets. It's the
Yep.
same thing.
Yeah.
So truly, we have to change it from the children in the education system all the way into the workforce. And this is a huge switch. And I work with companies right now where we are changing it. We're starting to put
Mm-hmm.
in more unified team metrics, not so much the me metrics. And wouldn't it be nice if you were in a job and you weren't excelling in that job, for your manager to look at your strengths and say, hey, you might be really good at this other job
Right.
because I could see you shining there.
Instead of putting you on a PIP
Right.
and managing you
You
out.
got 30 days to perform better.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a job where it's a process, you have to process, do A, you have to do B, you have to do
Mm-hmm.
C, and you're putting these little widgets together, that's a different story.
Right.
But a lot of jobs aren't that way,
Right.
and you can't grade on the process because they're not a process. They're about getting the job done. They're about being part of the team. They're about helping the company excel. And wouldn't it be nice if you had somebody on your team going, hey, I can partner with you and help teach you how to do this? Where that stress wasn't there.
Right.
The stress of we have to excel in order to get that increase.
Yeah.
It's too much.
How do we reward the super top performers in a system that is so different from the grades?
Yeah, and that's an individual thing on an individual company.
Yeah.
And I would, if I were the CEO, I would look at it on how much of a leadership, a positive attitude, a motivational person that I have. You know, are they really helping to grow my team, grow my company, and helping my company excel
Right.
the best that they can be? That's how I would grade people.
I think it's this energy of no one gets left behind.
Yes, it is. But it's also, yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it down there. But then you've got to get the employees on board for that. So
Right.
that it's the whole thing's
Yeah.
it's a big knotted
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Like a rubber band ball.
Yeah.
And then we have to kind of peel all these rubber bands
Right.
off to get to the core and then rebuild the core.
Right.
And the employees have to be on board because a lot of these employees, like I said, have grown up in these systems
Right.
where we've gotten graded.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've just put into their head, I'm a poor performer. I got D's in school, so I'm a poor performer. And then they go into the workplace. They believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's systematic.
Yeah. Re-engineering the mind. Again.
Well, I hope our future generations can figure this out.
It's a big one, guys.
It is.
Sorry to leave it with you.
Yeah. Well, tell us more on how we could work with you further.
Sure. So if you want to work with me, you can go to hiddengemscoaching.co.
This
And I
QR code
believe
here.
it has a little information up that you can scan, QR code. So hiddengemscoaching.co, you can go to read more about me. You can go to the contact form. You can fill it out. I'd be more than happy to just have a discovery call to see if we work. You know, it's just like a company. I don't work with everybody, and not everybody wants to work with me, but I'd love to learn more about you to see if I can. And if you're somebody who needs to work with Nancy, I'll send you over.
Thank you so much. It's been so blessed and so refreshing.
Yes.
To talk about this.
It's been enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin. And I will see you on your podcast next week.
Well, all right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.